Jet Rescue is SeaWorld Australia's Intamin straddle coaster. It's a family multi-launch coaster opened in 2008 and was probably the biggest surprise out of any roller coaster we experienced in Australia. And I can acknowledge that is due to expectations. Like, this was nowhere near the best compared to like DC Rivals and Leviathan. I expected this ride to be tame, but this ride is awesome. It has some incredible pacing, super whippy moments, and pulls some really good forces. So this is gonna be my full in-depth review of Jet Rescue. I'll walk you through the different moments and tell you what you can expect, because I really had heard nothing about this ride. I had experienced other straddle coasters of similar size, Wavebreaker, SeaWorld San Antonio. I'd even done Juvalin at Jers Summerland. And while I think the Juvalin layout overall is the best of the straddle coasters from Intamin, this is probably my second favorite. If you've experienced Juvalin or Yukon Quad, you know that they bring those incredibly low to the ground, quick changing of direction in such a short amount of space. They're very compact rides, but they pack in a lot. Jet Rescue does that with like half the amount of space. So it's ultra compact, meaning it is a shorter ride. And I think that's why, in the end, I do lean towards Juvalin being the better overall experience. But the weak point about those layouts is towards the end, it kind of fizzles out. This thing uses every foot of track to its advantage. Now, I don't have a length of track to display or even a max height, but I do have top speed is about 44 miles per hour, and it pulls about 2.5 Gs, which is pretty good considering this is a family launch coaster. But it shows how wide that spectrum can be when it comes to the family coaster. This is really family thrill. I wouldn't use the word tame to describe this experience at all, but I would use tame to describe Wavebreaker at SeaWorld San Antonio, same exact type of ride. But I think Jet Rescue just shows the potential that you can have in a ride like this. It launches you up out of the station, tire-driven launch, short amount of space to reach that max speed. I don't believe this is where the 44 miles per hour comes in. I think that's with launch 2. But you go from like nothing to flying right up against the ground, taking the sharp bank turn before you even realize what's going on. And I was a moron and I wasn't paying attention before boarding. I didn't even realize that it launched you out of the station. That's why if you watched our first time on-ride reaction, it was so funny because I was giving the intro for the video as we're launching because I didn't know that it was about to launch. And because of its location in SeaWorld Australia, you can't see it from most of the park's pathways. That's why we're only showing you a couple of shots from off the ride. It's very tucked away. But I'll tell you what, they have great landscaping in there, some rock work. I do wish there was a bit more water at the bottom. Like, you have this tiny little pond that you don't really notice during the ride experience. But I think about Wavebreaker that is literally going over water for a majority of the ride, encapsulating that idea that you're riding on a jet ski. And this feels more like four-wheeling because you're just riding alongside the rocks. But that's if we're getting picky. In reality, it looks really good and they did a nice job with this area. And so much of the plant life and rock work that you see here actually hides sections of track, so you don't really see what's coming next, especially since this layout rarely ever gets off the ground. And I think that's what really reinforces that speed that you feel. 45 miles per hour is not very fast, but when you're taking these sharp transitions just like a foot off the ground, it feels like you could be going like 60 miles an hour. It's a very strong start to the ride, and then you hit launch 2. You're already going at a pretty fast speed, and then you accelerate in a tunnel, bank sharply to the right, and then enter just these insane back and forth maneuvers. Juvalin and Yukon Quad do the same thing, but the best thing I would really compare it to is Maverick or Intimidator 305. It feels like that, but on a family straddle coaster. It's unbelievable, and it doesn't let up. The second you hit the brakes, you're like, holy crap, I can't believe that just happened. This ride is such a hidden gem. I knew that there was a straddle coaster at SeaWorld Australia, but I didn't know it was this good. I think it's probably my third favorite coaster in the country, right after Leviathan and DC Rivals. Layout-wise, it's perfect. Strong start, doesn't let up, incredible finale. My only main gripe with it is that I wish it was longer, but I realize that is very much a real estate thing. SeaWorld Australia is a relatively compact park. You have the mock water coaster next door and some animal exhibits. There's only so much room they had to work with. They absolutely made the most of their space though. So for Jet Rescue's final score, I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. This is something you'll want to ride multiple times. Highly recommend experiencing it. Come out to SeaWorld Australia. It's totally worth it. Between this and Leviathan, you have a heck of a 1-2 punch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to stay tuned for more here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you next time.